Hi, I'm Brad. I'm from Artbeats. I'm alumni group number 26. I've been doing workshops here at Studio Central since 2016, well over 200 workshops now. So today we're just going to continue on the Pointillism with pen and ink. So it's, as you see here, we started off with the hand last time, and I kind of covered out more of around the shadow spots, fading it out as we progress. Now today we're going to try to work on the inside of the hand, so getting the details and using the pointillism, and hopefully we can do this without making the hand look funky. So I usually like to start the tips down, so I'll work at the nails first, get those centered, and then go from there, because the knuckles are the tough ones, where to put the knuckles and all that other stuff. So once we get there, we'll get there. So we'll start off with the nails today, getting those almost like symmetry or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you know me, I'm a perfectionist, you know. It's just in my blood, I guess. So what Pointillism, I'm Brad, by the way, you already introduced me. I'm an Artbeat alumni. I've gotten back to this pointillism a few years ago from an art technique that was taught here. I last did it when I was in junior high, and I seemed to be really good at it, but I had other techniques I used over the years in my drawing. So a few years ago, I think it was about 2018, yes, that's when I drew this one here. And it's kind of me having a little fit, and it's put these skulls around my neck as it symbolizes something about, you know, my mental health and all that, right? So, and my favorite artist is, of course, Dali. He's kind of a descendant, like one of my great grandfathers from Spain. So he married an Ojibwe woman when he moved here. So he looks like my grandfather. So I thought I'd draw him. You know, he had the same mustache, everything. So I kind of did this one where, you know, his head split apart, but I used pointillism majority, showing the shades. The more dots, the more shading. Pointillism actually started back, 1886, as a painting technique. Being layers of dots would show the shades and stuff like that. So someone implemented later on, let's do it in pen, and actually it actually was done in metal engraving. They used a owl and a hammer and actually used dots in engraving. So that's how pointillism actually started, and then they started making prints. So now this is actually, you can do this on a metal plate and it'll come out like that. So what I'm doing today is an easy project for everyone to do. I like drawing hands, and I always seem to use my own hand a lot to draw. So I put my hand nice and relaxed on there. You want to make sure when you're drawing your lines for your hands that you're getting right in there, like for where your fingers are. And you'll have to maybe bring it in a bit like this, right? But what we're going to do is use shading. See, it depends on where your light's coming from, and that's the key thing, where the light, it's directional, right? In here it's more above me, so I don't have too much shading around the hand. So, but there's dark spots and light spots. There's light shading on this side compared to this side. So it's because the way where I am, I'm centered between two lights right now. So I'm getting this different. You're in your place or wherever you are right now, you might get different shading. So what you're going to do is, when you're shading, your pointillism is done by directly pushing your pen up and down like this, and not sliding your pen while you're doing it, because you'll get ticks, not dots. So what you want to do is continuously go up and down in those dark areas. You don't have to keep your hand there, I'm just showing you. So here I'm going to shade the outside of my hand first. So by doing so, I'm going to do the darker areas first, and the more dots, the darker it's going to be, right? So I'm going to shade my hand on the outside. I like doing the outsides first, because that determines on how I'm going to do my hand. Like, you got to figure out where your fingernails are going to be placed and all that, so you'll use dots to outline your nails and your crevices in your fingers, the wrinkles, and shading of the veins and so forth. So, tattoo artists use pointillism. Is another thing. 'Cause the needle's going so fast, right? So, see how they use the different shading and all that? This is all done by dots. So, it's the same thing as you're doing with a pen. You're actually tattooing your paper. As I call it. So, that's why a lot of my drawings do look like tattoos, because it's the form that you use, right? Or technique and the depth and dimension, and there's all these factors that go into it. But I'm not schooled in any kind of art technique. I'm self-taught pretty much in everything. I used to be a chef, so that's another thing. I was taught, but I still cook, but I don't work in the business anymore. But I like using art in everything I do, basically. Like in cooking, there is an art form. But the pointillism is just, I don't know, it just tells a story, because the way you do it, rather than the regular technical shading. And I used to do this technique where you would darken an area and then smudge out with a pink eraser I use, because it has oil in it. And they're really good for smudging your ink. And it's a technique that I use. I'll teach that in another program. But right today, this pointillism, it's all about not how fast you go, but when you're anxious, like I get, I tap a lot. So this is good for me. So when I'm in that anxious mood, I like to get out the pen and paper, and it actually kills the anxiety, to be honest. It's really helpful. And after a while of doing this, you stop tapping and you don't get so anxious, But yeah, it's great mood relaxer for me. Like drawing something like this is an accomplishment, especially when you're living with mental health. And, it helps you get out of that headspace someday. Like this, depicts a story, right? Your drawings. A lot of my drawings depict how I feel, and that's what a lot of artists do. It's how we feel, and it just, some do happy paintings, some do okay paintings, and then there's, same as drawing. There's the happy drawings, and I love Batman art. You ever seen the cartoons for Batman? A lot of that stuff was done in pointillism too. So back in the earlier days, and then they started using hatching and cross hatching and other things, and so yeah, back in the old days, the cartoons were all done by pointillism. So yeah, it's just a fun thing to do. I enjoy it. So right now I'm just darkening this one side, because when I put my hand down, the darkest area was on the left side of my hand. So everything on the left side of my fingers is going to be darker than the right side of the fingers. So I'm just doing dark edges on starting with the middle finger. A little chuckle there, but yeah, I can go really fast at this and progression. I could have done one beforehand and show you what it looks like, but I like doing it with everyone, so it's more fun that way, I enjoy this. It's just something so now I'm pretty much darkened this whole one edge of this finger now. So now I'm going to go down each left side of each finger and just darken that area first. I like to do the outside first. It's just the way I work. You can do it either way. So. It's all about you. You're the drawer. I'm not. I'm just showing you how to do pointillism. So I enjoy it. So I said that already, didn't I? Yeah. It brings joy to you. Instead of sitting in your head all day.
What other kind of pens work good for this? This gel pen works well.
I like the gels the best, because you do have to work them at first, because they could be dry inside because they sit for so long. But the way they keep your pens, and a lot of people, I don't know why they do this, but don't store your pens like this. Ink runs downwards. So the key thing is always store your pens tip down. Why? Because everything stays down towards the tip. That way you're not constantly doing this. You know, like I do. You know, there's days where, oh geez, I left all my pens in my bag and they all froze or something, so now I have to heat them up, so you know. But I'm not one to sit in a chair too long. I sit at a desk all day at home in front of a computer and it's boring. But when I'm doing stuff like this, I like to stand or whatever, have something at my chest height. That's why I like those new standing desks. I'm gonna like those. So, anyways, back to this. So to do the fingernails, to get to the fingernail area, I'm gonna start with the. I'm gonna start with this finger. So I'm gonna highlight just by using small dots my fingernail. And my fingernails are funny because I got these weird lines in mine. They're not smooth, they're really rough. So I'm gonna probably put some lines in my nails too, because I have to accentuate what my nails do look like. So I'm just going around how I feel my nail looks like. Okay, come back up here. So this is my nail. Just fill that in like that. And once you start doing that, I'm not even wearing my glasses right now, which is, I'm like blurry. Everything's blurry. I'm like, they're in my jacket somewhere or something, you know. But well, anyways, the edges would be darker for my nails. And as you go in towards the nail, you just do smaller, less dots, just to give it texture, like so. And yes, and this is the end of our workshop, Pointillism. I am Bradley, and from Artbeats, and I hope to see you more in the near future, and hopefully see you guys at Studio Central. All right, take care, guys. Thank you. Bless you all.